if I could just give a little technical advice before we jump right into it. Um, if you want to highlight a particular person on your screen, if you click on your screen, there's three little dots. You can um, pin that person, and they will become more stationary, and your view will be better. And also, you can click and drag these squares around. I think if you have the latest version of Zoom,
Mm.
it would put Sue and Jules and myself and anyone else you want to in a certain order, and give everyone a moment to.
Just found Joan, so Joan's here.
What's that?
Hi.
Joan's here, right?
Uh,
Remember me telling you about the hedge, Sue, that my son makes?
All right.
Well, I'm in his office.
Oh, fab. Oh. Oh my gosh.
Okay, well, welcome everybody. I have so been looking forward to this day. Um, I started going to Sue and Jules' session, maybe mid-pandemic, and realized what a nicely run session it was. And I feel like I've made friends uh, from a Zoom program, and I look forward to seeing them each week. And I always wondered uh, how Sue and Jules came about with their format, a little thinking behind uh, how. And I'm going to just talk directly to you, Sue, instead of referring to you as though you're someone else or someplace else. Um, could you talk a little bit about how you organized your session and a little bit of the why?
Okay. Well, before all this all happened, the pandemic, in person I co-run 3 sessions in the UK, and so I tend to be the main fiddler, and then I kind of help assist people who started this session in the first place, and then being the fiddler, you become sort of main leader really, and I was getting the pandemic was just freaking me out a bit really, and I just thought, you know, most people in the sessions are going to be vulnerable. And I just thought, okay, so I decided to actually go for it and say, right, I'm going to stop doing the session. So it's up to you if you want to carry on. And then that's when everyone decided, oh, thank you for making that decision. So everyone decided to stop when I did. And then I thought, right, I need to kind of do some kind of alternative because we're going to need to work on everyone's well-being, for not just ourselves, but for each other. And so I kind of thought about Skype, Facebook, and live streaming, and gone into experimenting. So we started off doing a very simple Facebook live stream with microphone on the laptop and really bad quality everything.
Really disorganized.
And then I
Really
publicized it like mad, and then we had good responses, but it was interaction on chat windows instead. And then Jules came up with the idea of using Zoom and to have the interaction with people, and so we gave that a go. And in the meantime, I was always trying to work out how to live stream Zoom onto YouTube so that people didn't have to join Zoom and use YouTube instead, so that they can just sit comfortably without being filmed, sort of thing. So it kind of got expanded by that, by the tech and the gear, and then paying for the subscription to broadcast and everything. And then I just say I tend to spam like mad on Facebook and publicize it, and it's amazing how much it's grown with everyone that we know from the UK joining the session, but also you guys in across the pond and Canada and France and all over the place, and it's been amazing. And we've kind of realised, you know, as being a non-driver and setting up an event like this, the potential for Zoom and connecting with people when you can't get out and about very easily as a non-driver, or if you just can't drive anymore or something, you know, this has been a really good example.
But
Yeah.
there's it's always been a significant factor is the interactivity and the Zoom element. It's not just us performing to the camera. So this whole thing of Sue forcibly unmutes people between each tune, so that we get some interaction, so that we maintain friendships or gain friendships. So so
I
yes,
think
that's
I think one of the ways that Zoom has evolved over here is the idea that there's a host, and the host has control over whether or not you speak, and only one person at a time. And like, God forbid, two people should be talking at the same time. Bedlam would ensue, and sometimes there is bedlam, but you kind of have a high tolerance for some of that bedlam.
a bit of noodling here and there. Yeah, we've all learned to be sort of uber polite. So,
Yeah,
always
actually,
waiting. You never interrupt each
I
other.
kind of didn't want to say too much because I've actually the video I have, I've got a sample of the YouTube video which I talk about unmuting. So I can demonstrate this now. Shall I screen share this video now, which is
I th-
right on the topic of what we're on now?
and then
So
for people who haven't seen it, then they'll have a chance to see it, and then we'll talk
yeah,
about
so
it.
just to
Yeah,
explain, if you're new to Zoom and everything, so as you can see, quite a lot of you have muted, and you can hear is digital silence. And we've always made a point of actually in between tunes we unmute to have a conversation, and of course when we're playing tunes you got the delay that we have to deal with. So we mute, of course, and then you just hear whoever is leading the session. So I'm just going to show a screen share of a snippet of our session. So can you see this all right?
I can see it.
Yeah. Okay. So this is me kind of explaining. So Andy's here, sort of playing a tune at the moment, and then afterwards I kind of explain, and then you can hear everyone's reactions of what I'm talking about. So, right. That's gorgeous.
Very nice.
That was lovely. What was it called again?
It's the Kaiser Waltz. And
Kaiser, as in the bloke who led Germany, Kaiser.
yeah. And it's a recording of it by Lonnie Robertson on YouTube.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Pressing unmute.
A cheeky.
Kaiser Waltz, yeah.
Yeah.
He's having a jam session all by himself.
Thank you, Andy. That was lovely.
Yeah, it was.
Thanks.
Hearing some funny noises. Yeah. Right, those who are new here in this session, so we've got a thing about unmuting in between tunes. Can you hear me all right, clearly?
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, Dodge, shush. Where is it?
The bird.
I thought, right, okay. Dodge, you're going up there so I can keep
Mute the
an eye on
bird.
you.
Mute the bird.
Right, so hello, Larry. So if those who are new here, I just want to because most people here have been here before now, so we've got a policy of basically muting in between tunes, and so that's why I do it, and most of you are happy for me to do it, but if you choose to do it yourself, that's fine. But it makes the atmosphere much nicer when you do unmute. Even if you don't say a word, it makes a difference. Like if you were to put a teacup down, or you're sort of making some interesting noises, it's just part of being human. It's like being in the same room. And of course, who would unmute to laugh? So to hear laughter is really quite something, isn't it? So that's what's so special about us. So at the moment, I can hear some interesting sleepy noises, and I'm just wondering where it's from. So the other thing is, everyone's aware of what's going. Yes, exactly. Santa's coming from.
US for it. Did that Saturday with you.
So, because the other thing about being unmuted is that you can hear when you're making or you become aware of, oh, need to be quiet because somebody's trying to speak. So it's just like it if you're in the same room as if you're in a hall and somebody's having a speech or talking in front of the group as a circle of, in a session. And then you kind of go quiet to listen to them. So we're trying to do the same in Zoom, replicate that in Zoom. So we have our own sort of Zoom etiquette. So every now and then I kind of remind you guys about it, or when you know it basically. So, but the other thing is, like, we also have a no noodling policy because it will drown out whoever's talking. Yeah. But okay, so that'll be it. But you get an idea of just people, just the whole reaction from each other, and just. It's just great to just people are great. You guys are great. So
I'll unmute myself. And that's the other thing about having everyone unmuted. You don't have to wait while someone figures out that they need to unmute themselves.
Yes. Yeah, so if you're like holding a double bass and then lean over to press unmute or something. So yeah.
Right. And so how long have you been doing this?
We started this, the very first session we did was on the 24th of March last year. And our lockdown was on the 23rd of March, our very first lockdown in the UK. So yeah, I did a lot of preparation early. I moved early before our first lockdown. Prepared everything early, so yeah, it's been a while now.
Great.
Every Tuesday and every Sunday.
Every Tuesday, every Sunday.
And one of those is a slow jam, and one of those is a
fast
jam.
Slow jams on Sundays, an hour and a half, 8:00 p.m. UK time, so that's 3 p.m. in Eastern time. And then Tuesdays are up to speed jam, which is the same time, 8:00. 3 p.m. Eastern time, and that's a 3 hour, that's a longer session. What we tend to do, what we tend to do is we choose a key for Sunday, and then we use the same key for Tuesday for people who are learning the new tunes, and then they want to work on it, in the faster jam. So,
and now some technological stuff. I know at one point I could slide across to YouTube and it would tell me how to find a particular tune in a session, and that's a neat trick. Do you do that for everyone, or was that just
We've started doing that for everyone, and we've also started backtracking, trying to do the older ones as well. So that, we just have to watch through the video, find where it starts, type in the number, and YouTube sort of does a magic.
So if someone said, oh, I really wanted to learn Bound to Have a Little Fun, they slide across and it has tune name, it Bound to Have a Little Fun, you know just where it starts.
Or in the info, the about box underneath the YouTube video, you can click on you can find the name and click on the time, and it'll skip straight to it.
So one of the things that I wanted to talk about was, how did you find old time music? And the average person sitting over here in the United States probably doesn't have an idea of how far our music has gone. And when I say our music, I mean it's everybody's music, but how did you get involved in the whole scene?
I've been playing folk, sort of Celtic, Irish, British folk music for years and years and years and years, and ended up being a bluegrass band for the last 15 years or something. But it was sort of Sue that dragged me. I've touched on old time. I really like the trancey element of it, and the not sort of showing off quite so much element of it, more inclusive flavour that old time has. But it's kind of Sue that reeled me into the. I'm a bluegrass and rockabilly bass player, and then suddenly I'm an old time guitarist. How did this happen? It's all her fault. What about you?
So,
I
'cause he does good chords, folks. I mean, you can see his hand, and he sometimes he mentions the chords that he's playing. I think it's very helpful.
Jules is also a bassist as well, double bassist, so you get the bass lines as well, and then that's when you can't read the chords, but you get a good bass line. For me, for old time, I've been playing it for I don't know, 12 years or something, and I've just been very lucky to be in amongst people who are very involved in the old time field in terms of being involved in the Friends of American Old Time Music and Dance Society in the UK, which is the largest, I think is the only actually old time society that promotes the genre in this country. And so the sessions I was in, the committee members were in those sessions. So I was quite lucky to be there. And I first started learning the banjo just by hearing the sound of a friend playing it, but I didn't know what style it was. And Jules saying that I wrote them into old time, but Jules actually suggested I should have a go at playing the banjo, so I did.
Oh no, this is some sort of self-fulfilling prophecy going on here.
So I was quite into finger picking on the guitar and the classical and folky stuff, and then the banjo I got hooked on really. But yeah, so I went to Sore Fingers, which is a summer school that specialises in bluegrass and old time. That happens in April and October, and Adam Hurt was teaching there, and I just thought, wow, he's a brilliant banjo player. So I just dropped everything and went to that, and ever since that I thought, right, I need to carry on playing. So I found 2 local sessions, oh, thanks Michael. Michael's just posted a link to the Vote Mad thing of the society,
the UK old time.
Yeah. So So it's kind of so I've just been surrounded by these amazing players, but also with the committee, I started to get involved with the society as well, doing a website originally, well, not originally, second original, and then sometimes occasionally we had some of the headlining guests of the festival that they run in the sessions as well. So I got to play with the Knote Brothers and some others.
Yeah, and missed that one.
Yeah, so
Knote Brothers at the White Horse Pub in Bradford on Tone.
Yeah, so that was good.
I still have never seen the Knote Brothers.
I'll highly recommend you go and see them.
Yeah, just haven't had a chance. Huh?
They're very good.
And so, it sounds, the paths that you took to old time music probably are quite similar to the paths that we found to old time music. And, once you radiate it and once it grabs you.
I actually, before old time, I was actually in studying music anyway. I teach music, I teach banjo and all kinds of instruments, and I'd done a degree in music, and it wasn't until after all that I got into old time, and because I was in these sessions with committee members and people, I was like the youngster, and so I felt like the one that was just suddenly interfering in the sessions and being told I was playing all the wrong chords and everything, so I was exposed to people who really knew about the history of old time, and I was being slapped around to kind of get it right and everything. So, and now I've kind of learned from.
Now you do that to me.
Now I do that to Jules because he's bluegrass and getting roped into it. So I kind of want to keep a balance and don't want to give the wrong impression that I'm just a sort of newbie in old time, but but having started teaching banjo, I'm finding myself having to relearn some of the tunes I originally learned to teach it properly, teach it correctly.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really interesting.
And you were just at some sort of festival. I heard talk of you referred to it as like you were going to camp, but I didn't quite understand like what camp that
Oh, I
was.
see. Right. Okay. So, the Friends of American Old Time Music and Dance, FOAMAD, they run a spring and summer camp in the
Oh, I see.
UK, and so so that yeah, we just went to the spring one, which was not very spring-like at all. It was
It's
raining,
very wet.
very wet. But I think that's quite common for the spring one. But the summer one hopefully will be better.
But it's at least during COVID times, there's no performance as such. It is just going camping and playing around campfires.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
FOAMAD do run their February festival, their winter festival, but of course it hasn't been going on during COVID. But and they do get some good guests in there, and they have workshops and concerts and all kinds of things going on, shops and you can buy banjos and things. And it's all held indoors in a school because it's in the middle of winter, so it's great.
Now, so way back in West Virginia, there were groups of people separated by hills and hollers, and they created their own music, and a style was born. And then as people traveled, that style was spread, and the circle got bigger, and it changed in different ways. And then we have planes and trains and automobiles, and the circle got bigger, and the music changed. And so now, we know musicians in Japan that play American old time music, and musicians in Australia and the UK. So it's kind of it's it feels to me like it will be a time of great change, and we can't control that change. As long as people are traveling, it's going to change. And so we have this kind of constant dialogue of how the tune is supposed to be played, or what's the name of the tune, and what was the name of the tune before that, and what did so and so call that same tune. And so we just have this ongoing conversation about stay the same. It's really
Yes,
different.
this is what I find very interesting because I mean it's like I did study art quite some time ago, and I was told because I was going to choose to do a gap year and travel, but I was told not to do that because art changes, like fashion changes, and I think music kind of does the same, especially when it comes to you hearing well even like hearing tunings, you're getting used to things that are slightly out of tune, or you're getting used to things that have to be precisely perfectly in tune, um, and it's the same with like yeah, perfections, imperfections, and how melodies are played, and when I find some of the sessions that I go to now in camps, I find tunes have become very simplified, and they're very harmonic and they're quite drony. And when you're listening back to early recordings, they're much more complex. There's more notes in it involved and stuff. And then there's like my era and other people's eras or something. And then so listening to new music and changes the influence of how you play. So there's not just like countries, but there's time as well, isn't
Mm-hmm.
there?
Mm-hmm.
And I think as long as we're aware of listening back to the early stuff and then try and learn that and see how complicated it is and see if my fingers can do it. But then that's the other thing I realize is that I'll learn like a Slippery Hill field recording, and then I find I can't physically play it. I'm not trained as I'm not classically trained to play all those notes or something. And so I kind of do something that I can manage, and then that's when the tune changes again.
Mm-hmm.
and so yeah, and of course now with Zoom online, jamming online, I'd love to hear feedback from what people think about the way we play tunes, and then of course when I go to other sessions like Karina, she runs one, and Paul, who's here somewhere, hearing you guys play it. But and also I've learned recently about this round robin thing. I've never come across round robin before because in the UK it's not really done very often. There's always a selected leader who's usually quite a confident leader, and so people tend to rely on that, and they all do most of the leading. But I've noticed in the Zoom jams that are run by non-UK people, there's a lot of this round robin thing, which is great. Then I get to hear
Take some turns.
yes, yeah, and hear other styles of playing, which is really interesting.
So as a foreigner in your session, sometimes I'm torn because I feel like maybe I should just let the music evolve and not necessarily say, this is the way it's done or this is the way it really is, because that's what's in my head sitting here in upstate New York. Someone played what I would call Liberty off the corn liquor stall one time, and it was called Liberty of the Corn Liquor Still. And my first instinct was to say, it's not of, it's off. And I thought, just, shut your mouth, Terry. The music is like doing its thing, and it doesn't need you to say, this is right or this is wrong. And sometimes we do need people to say this is right and this is wrong, but as far as kind of exerting authentic American influence on your beautiful session, you don't need me to do that. So sometimes I just shut my mouth.
I don't actually. It's good. I don't mind the feedback like that really, because
I think it's fascinating to hear that kind of changes and details. Just to be aware of them. I mean, whether they are right or wrong, or you're correcting us, it's a whole different discussion. But it's to know that there is an alternative name or an alternative note or an alternative whole B part, it's really good to be aware of.
I'm always picking on Jules for throwing in minor chords, because I've learned that there wasn't originally there wasn't many minor chords, and Jules is kind of throwing in minor chords, and I'm like going, ooh, only because I've learned that. But I like minor chords. I've
learned it because it's sort of from the Irish tradition, which is where I'm coming from.
So
it's always mixing.
It's all very confusing, but then I kind of see it as the more something is simplified. So I'm kind of thinking with guitar chords, it would just be the root chords, and then no sevenths or anything like that, nothing fancy. Or I think I was explaining to maybe you about the color palette. You just have your primary colors, and then you mix it with other colors, your other sevenths, other fancy chords, or you go back to the original primary colors. So similar with accompanying chords, and as soon as you decorate chords on the guitar, the tune kind of gets taken away somewhere else, and then I feel like I'm forced into a different mood that I'm not actually wanting to be in. That mood, this is my mood, I'm playing on the fiddle, and that chord is throwing me somewhere else. So that's why I kind of pick on Jules with, stop telling me what to feel.
Well, that is kind of what the chords structure underneath does. It gives it context, and yeah.
So I know some people from your regular session have joined us here today, and I'd like to give you a huge welcome. Thanks for coming. It's nice to see you on this side of the Zoom world also. And just before I ask for some comments from them, I also just want to, if you haven't seen Su and Jules' session yet, there's also a participant whose name is Dodgy, and who sometimes interjects unpredictably by a tweet or
not that kind of tweet.
Dodgy has their own Zoom square, and it's another thing that lightens it up. I'm always curious, how's Dodgy today?
Okay, so if you don't know who Dodgy is, it's my pet cockatiel, and he has a separate camera on Zoom. And one time we had Alan Kaufman he wrote a tune for Dodgy. And he said, right, I'm going to lead it, but I'd like you to unmute Dodgy Bird. So he led the tune, and Dodgy was squawking along. so that was good fun.
All right. So anybody from our special guest today, you can unmute yourself and talk a little bit about what Sue and Jules' session has meant to you during these times. Joan?
Yeah, I'd like to say that it's meant a great deal to me because I live alone. And of course, with the lockdowns, our lockdowns at first were very tight. So the only time we were allowed out was to get essential shopping. We weren't visiting anyone, no one could visit us. You know, the most I saw the neighbours really was when we clapped for the National Health Service. So we went outside, and I live in an upstairs flat, so I was just going on the little balcony and clapping for the NHS and saying hello to my neighbours. So this session has not only meant that I've been able to join in playing the music, I've also been able to chat and communicate with people.
Yeah.
So it's entirely lifted this whole pandemic for me in a massive way.
Oh, that's special.
I love the music, but it's also been a lot more than that, especially for me.
And what do you
Yeah.
play, Joan?
I play banjo. Yes, I also play ukulele, but I'm usually playing my banjo. So yes, it also means that I'm learning more and more by ear because you're listening and you can have a go and nobody hears any of your mistakes. So it doesn't matter if you're way off the mark because no one can hear you. And then when you get, the slow jams, you can really concentrate on listening exactly where the tunes are. And of course, the other thing is that the sessions are recorded, so you can go on YouTube, and there is a facility on YouTube to slow the video down, so you can concentrate on a tune that you want to learn and slow it down to play along till you get it and play it as many times as you want. So it's not just the live session, it's the recordings as well that are so valuable, and the camaraderie that we've all built up as well.
Yeah.
Because we unmute between and we laugh. And something that hasn't been said yet is that at the end of our sessions, Sue and Jules keep the session running and we can just chat along. That's not recorded, so we can chat along about anything for as long as we want to chat, So, yeah,
Yes,
very valuable to me.
we stopped the live stream. So when we finish our session, we stop the live stream and just let people hang out. So, and we do a half an hour. We open the doors early for people, to sort out technical and quick chat and all that stuff. And, but yes, it's great.
Yeah, I've made a whole bunch of friends.
Absolutely.
We're slowly meeting. Joan, one day soon, we'll actually meet in
Summer
person.
camp all being well.
Cool.
Oh, great.
Anybody else want to talk about what the session has meant to you?
Yes, I'd like to. I'd like to echo what Jones just said, and I've only ever met her online, and I feel I'm getting to know you, which is lovely.
Yes.
But what struck me, I always found Zooms very bleak, and I think Sue and Jules just brought it to life in that they're warm and welcoming. They say hello when you arrive, and there's the chat going on. And then what I really like is when you're leaving, you just say you're leaving, and people wave, and it's just like you've left a session. And I really admire how you've constructed the Zooms to create a culture and a community, as well as I value learning all the tunes and meeting people. So yeah, huge thanks. Helped me through the lockdowns, and now it just feels part of what I do in the week. Maybe one or two sessions. Yeah. So I could say lots, but I'll leave it for other friends to add to that.
Very nice.
Thank you, Jill.
There's a couple raised hands, so I
Yes.
don't know if that means that
Me-
people have questions.
I think so. They've got things to say.
Jeanie, do you want to unmute? But I think you're driving, so.
Yeah, if you want, you've shut my video off. You can turn it back on again for a second if you'd like to.
Did we shut off Jeannie's vid?
Yeah, it says a host shut it off.
Yes, I turned it off because there were some comments about it driving people wild in the chat. But, she's got it back on again.
Oh,
Getting
it was
dizzy, getting dizzy.
but it was those people.
Watch the road. Watch the road.
I'm going to. I'm on a 4-lane chilling. But I said in the chat that I had come to one of the first sessions, and part of the reason was that is that my friend Bonnie in Columbus, Ohio, had wanted to start an online Zoom for our community, and so she said, "There's these people in Great Britain, and they're doing this thing, and let's go find out." And so literally, that's where I learned how to use Zoom, and so we to a couple sessions, and then we started.
All part of the fun of Zoom.
Of course, it took a life of its own, and I think after Christmas, and I thought, man, I really need, that person to person. So I, it was a miss that interaction. And so I group, and I just love the way that it evolved, with the casualness and with the interactions. My big problem is, of course, that I live in rural Ohio. I have rural internet, so there's a lag coming in and lag going out. So when I tell jokes, they fall flat. My timing is way off, and I interrupt people all the time. But it's just been really a delight to be back part of the group. And one of the really big things musically for me is I play rhythm guitar and upright bass, other rhythm instruments, and I never get a chance to play my melody instruments because I'm always holding down the 4 rhythmically. So I start when I go to the sessions, I play mandolin or fiddle. So mostly mandolin with them. And it's just been really delightful. And the Zoom helps because you can suck, and it's cool still. And really, I just am amazed that just from a session or 2 a week, how much I've been able just to pick up without effort, without really working out really hard, just to be able to play loud at a jam, and not worry about it. But yeah, it's been a real delight, and I love the vibe. It's just right for me, so it's perfect.
Jeanie?
So thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks, Jeanie.
And would anybody else like to speak?
Bruce.
Yeah. If I could perhaps just say, I found it an incredibly safe place for somebody who's very new to this form of music, very new to learning the mandolin, and in a way quite lonely during lockdown, and suddenly finding a whole new group of friends, a shared interest, and the slow jam is an excellent place to learn in. So thank you very much, Su and Jules. It's been great fun. Great fun.
Bruce.
Thanks, Bruce. I don't think anyone has mentioned the monthly Pictionary game that you
Oh yes.
Oh, dare we?
What about that?
I just noticed Paul's got his hand up as well.
Oh, sorry.
Should we squeeze him in?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I just wanted to say I had also started a local session because I had a live session that I was running, and I decided to move it to Zoom at some point. And unfortunately, it was at virtually the same time as Su and Jules, although our time was different was a little further apart because we don't change clocks here. At any rate, I've now moved my online session to Friday. But when I finally got to theirs, I discovered all sorts of things that I needed to be doing in mine, like unmuting everybody in between so that we could all chat and feel like we're all in the same room. And my local session turned out to be an international session, which I never expected. And now I've made friends all over the world, and I had to move it to Friday because I didn't want to lose them as friends. I want to see them again. So sometimes I come to Jules, and Susan sometimes, I've got a lot of things going on, but yeah. Anyway, my live session is now on Sundays again, so I usually can't go to theirs, but they were very inspirational in how to be friendly and how to be inclusive.
Thanks, Paul.
And Pictionary was fun too. But I'm usually busy on Friday nights.
Pictionary is a trip. Now, why are you playing Pictionary?
Right. What? So Pictionary, we had one last night. It's every last Friday of the month. And why Pictionary? Okay, it just started off as just to learn how to use the annotation tool on Zoom, and I think, Jules's family were having like Zoom meetings, and Jules's niece really likes Pictionary on Zoom.
I've got a 6 or 7, I can't remember, this big year-old niece, and she's always wanting to play Pictionary when we're having a family tea party on Sunday afternoons on Zoom. So, but it seemed like a good idea.
Yeah, so we had a go. We did the first run of Pictionary where we just did objects and subjects and things. And then somebody came up with the idea of doing old-time tunes. So we draw old-time tune titles. And
didn't we kind of start... we did just a social night, so it was like the old time session, but without any old time. We didn't actually play any music. We just got together and had a chat when we were in the depths of, not really being allowed to even go to the shops, and you can't see anyone, you can't go out. So we what did he call it? It was like a pub night or something.
Oh yeah, that was like a separate thing. We did a hangout pub night.
Yeah, but that sort of then moved in. I sense that's where Pictionary kind of came from. It's like having a get together, but it's a focus. It's a focus. We're all playing a game,
And because of the session, we were getting to know each other anyway with the unmute, and then it was the same lot of people coming together. The other ones, but I think a lot of people are hesitant about Pictionary because that people will want
say,
drawing
I can't
skills.
draw.
Can't draw.
Like that's got anything to do with it.
Yeah,
I'm no artist.
Kind of like old time music.
It's all part of the fun not being able to draw.
Yes,
give it a try. Yeah, one of my favorites was Sadie at the Back Door. Somebody drew a house and then like a cat. And do we ever do maggots in the sheep hide? I don't know.
Oh no, I don't know actually. But you
can imagine who sat in Grandpa's hat.
Yeah.
We've had all of those.
You can imagine how entertaining it can be with these old time tunes, tune titles. But yes, that's the last Friday of each month we do that.
I took a part-time job a couple of weeks ago, and I was at work yesterday at 3 p.m, and I looked at my alarm went off, Pictionary night, and I was like, oh, dang on it.
Yes,
I missed it.
I couldn't make last night because I was doing my grandson's birthday cake. It's his birthday tomorrow, so I was spitting feathers that I couldn't make it last night to the Zoom session.
That's another one-off that seems to have become a regular.
To all our people here, I forgot what I was going to say. Carry on.
Oh,
nice.
Couple words. Hi, Betty in Washington State.
Hey, Betty.
I've enjoyed your jam so much. My friend Steve in Seattle actually told me about it last summer, so I've been on it, a lot, not all the time. And I had internet problems sometimes. Hopefully we're getting that resolved, but it's just been great. I echo what other people said about the camaraderie and the greetings, and people say hello, hi Betty. It's like people from all over the place are saying hello to me. It's just it's just really great. Really love it a lot, and I feel like I want to thank you. I appreciate your guitar playing because sometimes I can follow, and sometimes I'm trying to learn to hear chords and stuff. It's just helpful. It's really great sometimes just to hear solo banjo or solo mandolin. It's just a different way to play. I live with a fiddler who doesn't tend to do online stuff, so I do play with him a lot. We play with other people around town, but just hearing the solo instruments too, is good. So I just feel like I want to go camping with you guys, you know? It's supposed to be fun to just do a camp out with everybody, get to know you. Maybe I'll get over to England one of these years, and or you all can come out to Centralia camp out or something like that. Anyway, I just want to say thanks. I really enjoyed it a lot.
Thank you, Bertie.
Centralia is awesome.
I anticipate.
And I should thank Jules as well. I had been, and I still am, making recordings of old-timey tunes with backup, again, for my local community. But now lots of people are accessing them. But when I heard you guys playing together, I realized how powerful it is to have some accompaniment. So I started taking some of my recordings and just lengthening them so that I could accompany myself playing, do the guitar backup, and it makes it way more fun for me and probably better for everyone else trying to learn the tune. I probably keep better time when I'm playing to the accompaniment.
Yeah, it makes a big difference. That's one of the reasons why we started off the weekend with some 3 and 4 person jams, so that people felt like they were in a jam, not just playing with one other person. I remembered what I wanted to say. I wanted to say to our visitors for today, you can come back at any sessions that you want to, that you care to attend for the rest of the festival. We're going to have a sing-along tomorrow morning, and we also have an after party. I don't know that we'll play Pictionary, but at noon tomorrow, if whoever's around, we can get together and kind of talk about what we liked or what we could have done better, or just social stuff, not necessarily festival stuff. Anyone else want to?
There's a couple of hands up, Dave.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I just want to say I'm a sort of semi-reluctant old timer. I know Sue for a long time. She lives in the same town as me, and some friend of mine said, "Can you sort this instrument out for me? It's an octave mandolin." So I thought, yeah, I'd tune it out and whiz the bridge around a bit and restring it and that. I thought I need to test it out, so I sat in on one of her sessions, and I thought, actually, I'm almost enjoying this, finding the melodies and all that sort of thing. So this was my Christmas present, a little mandolin. And all that joking aside, and I'm supposed to be a drummer percussionist, but it's the social thing is really fantastic. I've got to know people around the world, and even most of you know Alan Kaufman. He's been coming to our local open mic. Hilarious. Meeting people like that is fantastic. So yeah, and it's meant a lot to me socially as well. Keeping in touch, as many people have said, keeping in touch with people. So, and previously I sat at the back of a session with a guitar thinking, no, this isn't really working for me, just playing a few chords. But actually finding the melody lines and the challenge of trying to get the A part and the B part together, it's been really good for me musically, my fingers and my brain, and relating to people. So yeah, I'm very grateful to you, Sue and Jules, for running this session. I could talk for the Olympics, so I'll shut up now.
Yes, I know Dave can. Catherine as well. She's got some on hand. Yeah, my stomach's rumbling, sorry.
There we go. I just wanted to introduce myself because Terri introduced me to you guys like a month and a half, 2 months ago. And I've been meaning to come to the Zoom session, but there's always something that prevents me from being there on time. And I didn't want to just bomb in. Oh. So I've been on the YouTube, and I've gone back and use your great, I love that you list the tunes and you can click on them, but I feel like I know you and you don't know me. So next time I won't hesitate to come into the Zoom.
Please don't hesitate if you're late.
Yeah.
Drop in.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you're late, just drop in anytime.
Okay.
It doesn't matter if you're early either, because the Zoom doors are open. So.
I know, but it's like, I'd be ready to go in and somebody would show up, or I'd get a phone call, and then it's like, they don't know me. I don't want to just pop in. Oh, but I feel now like I know you guys.
Now you can.
So now you know me.
That's lovely to meet you, Catherine.
And it's great. Anybody who hasn't done it, you can play along with them. You can go back, as people have mentioned. And I just love the fact that, a lot of them, they'll put the YouTube up live and it's great, but you have to search for the tune. And I just love that clickable thing to go back.
It's worth all the effort doing them.
We've got
thank you.
130 odd videos, and we've done maybe about 30 or 40, so we've got a way to go yet.
Yeah, we do all the new. Each time we do a new one, we do all that time stamping and stuff for the new ones.
Busy with the new ones.
But tracking back through all the old ones is taking a bit of time.
That's what I'm doing. We'll do
the resource, the amount that you have done, can keep you busy for years.
I found you from Facebook, and then you have a registration process so that not just everybody can get in the session. I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about how that works.
Okay, there's two things I want to mention actually. So yes, our website, which I've posted, I'll just post the website again. So you can actually register on our website, much like this festival for Black Creek. You can register. It's free, of course. You book a ticket, and then your email that you receive will have the Zoom information. We've stopped sharing our Zoom information publicly because we are on YouTube and everything. So and we have been Zoom bombed before, so that's why we have this free ticketing system where you register.
Zoom bombed, i.e., somebody coming in just to disrupt and get in the way and make a noise and spoil our fun. So that's the only reason we're filtering. We're not being exclusive, to who we allow in. And it's, if you play an instrument, if you look like you're after having playing some tunes with us, you're welcome. If you look like some kid that's going to come and graffiti the walls, then you're not welcome.
Yeah, so it's usually young children, young kids that are doing that. But I just want to go back to what Catherine was mentioning about the list of tunes and stuff. Larry, we've got a regular person who comes to our session called Larry Jober, and he you might see his face in other sessions, and he's done some amazing work by actually noting down every tune that we've played in our sessions since last April. And he's put them onto an Excel spreadsheet of which jams they were on, what date they're on, which video they're on, and it's all fairly up to date. So that's also on our website under the info menu.
How many times have you played each tune?
Yes. So if there's any tunes that if there's any tunes that you're looking for, you can look at that spreadsheet and find the actual video that way as well. So thank you to Larry for doing such a fantastic job.
Joan's got a hand up.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, adding into that as well, we've got Larry doing all that, but somebody mentions a tune and somebody asks a question about it, and straight away somebody like Michael will be onto the internet and looking up the history of a tune. Somebody will say, where did that come from? Who wrote it? And people just contribute all sorts of things and bring their own skills to these sessions, that we just didn't know were there. So, that's another thing. You can ask a question about a tune, and quite quickly, more often than not, someone will have come up with the answers to them. Yeah, I just wanted to mention that.
Thanks, Joan. We're getting close to the top of the hour, and I don't think we need to absolutely cut off. We've got 2 alternating rooms, unless someone needs to correct me on that. But
that's correct.
Okay. I don't have any other interview questions that I've prepared, but time for open discussion. Do you suppose we should just unmute everybody?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Wow. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much, you guys. You, Sue and Jules, have been an inspiration and helped me get through the pandemic for sure. Yeah. The first very super cool thing when I first joined you around Christmas is you had a Christmas light contest in the background.
Oh, yes.
And I remember scurrying around and putting up some funky thing in the background just so I could be like one of you. So thank you so much.
That was a lot of fun, yes.
It was. Yeah. That's it. We had a lot of fun. I want to say thank you as well, if I can. It's been it's been such a lifeline, really, because you linked us with people. We've kept playing music. We've got to know people all over the UK, America, all over the world, really.
Yeah.
Australia. I saw Debbie popped in a little bit briefly.
But we had our, because I mentioned we went to spring camp, and we announced that we were booked to go, and so a lot of the people who comes to our session turned up as well. So it was lovely to get to meet everybody, and some for the first time. But for me, it was fantastic for people to meet each other and see that. It was great.
It was.
So hopefully you feel like an equivalent in the States, you know.
It would be, because we feel like we know you. You know.
We know you, Chrissy. You're one of my in-person sessions.
Yeah. But I mean, when you see people every week that you've never met, you feel like you know them, don't you? It's wonderful.
Yeah, I think, you know, it is possible to make things happen. I mean, so for those who don't know, that we've had our setup. Our website actually has our Zoom etiquette rules, and if you're going to be running Zoom sessions yourself, have a look at what we've set up and see how we've done it in terms of, you know, the unmutes, the listening out for each other, saying goodbyes if somebody's going. That's really important to notice if somebody's leaving. And what else? Noodling, yes, noodling and cleaning up. When
it was not me. It was not me.
Yes.
We have a famous French noodler. He's fantastic.
So noodling over somebody when they're talking, it cuts out the sound. So just being aware of certain things. And it's just interesting about, you know, when we're on Zoom at home, you're in the comfort of your own home. And so you have a tendency to fiddle and make lots of noise. And then, of course, it interrupts everyone else. And we just forget that. So my role is to remind people of that as like you are in the room, and you shouldn't be making lots of conking noises.
Yes, it might be like watching telly, but the telly can hear you.
Yes.
Yes, if somebody gets a phone call, you have to mute them.
We've had some, interesting phone calls that we don't get overheard. And, so, you know, we get like 40 other people on our screen, and sometimes there's a conversation on the phone, and it's like everyone's gone quiet listening to this conversation. I'm like, oh, that's a phone call, quick, press mute. So Zoom's been fascinating to work with, actually, and I mean, I've used Skype to teach with, and found ways of structuring a lesson and jamming with people. Actually, Bruce is still here. I don't know if he's still here, but we've managed to do a performance. So say, like you guys on Zoom now, we've managed to do an in-sync performance on Zoom. So
really?
Yes, and how we did that, so this is Bruce and I, who's gone now. I basically phoned him, and I was on speakerphone on his phone. And so what you heard was his Zoom, but my Zoom was on mute, but you could hear me on his phone. And we played a duet, we played Bach. And of course, there's the audience in Zoom, and so it's possible to do such things. And but I've not achieved 3 people. I've only done 2 people. So.
Forcing technology to do stuff it didn't really want to do.
We have some experts here on the Jamulus platform, which is a synchronous live time. So I think they're planning some get-together this afternoon. If you'd like to learn more about that. Now, I don't think we can use Jamulus across the pond, but within your own geography, you probably could make it work. And I think that's going to be like the next new thing, the next good thing, that we really are going to be able to jam in live time as that gets perfected.
Jamulus across the pond seems to have too much latency, but Sonobus or Jamkazam, it's tolerable, because that's peer-to-peer rather than peer to central server and central server to peer.
It's Kate. About the Jamulus. Actually, we've had really good success with the Jamulus playing together, but we can't seem to all get together to pick a time. You know, it's kind of like herding cats with musicians. So I don't have any news on when the Jamulus thing's happening today yet.
Maybe just post
Aaron is here, Kate.
I'll post it.
Aaron is
Huh?
here. Talk to Aaron.
Oh, Aaron, where is he?
He's somewhere in this cloud.
I just texted him. I mean,
Okay.
Jamulus messaged him. Okay.
Yeah, he said he's gonna.
Aaron,
I don't know
where
what
are
he
you?
said. But
I believe when a time is determined, it will be put in the chat of the current session going on. So keep your chat open and you'll stay advised.
All right, thanks, Michael.
Don't dismiss Jack Tripp.
Thank you.
It's been
And I
used
have
in
really
the
enjoyed the Sue and Jules too.
Look into Jack Tripp. The Encore Creativity here in the Washington area has used it for rehearsals and singing, and you can do it with more than just a few people, but you have to be within, I think it's 500 miles of a particular server. So, but Jack Tripp, but it is hardware intensive.
That's the issue with me, is that I'm more than 500 miles away from everybody. I've tried Sonobus, I've tried Jack Trip, I've tried Jamulus, I've tried all of them, and yeah, they don't seem to work. I'm just too far away.
Have you done? What's your speed test results like?
So I think I end up being more than 50 milliseconds behind.
That's not really workable, is it?
Not really. not playing fiddle tunes. Maybe doing slow blues.
Slower tunes work out better, and different people have different tolerances, but anything, 50, above 50, maybe even up, actually really closer to 70 is about as high as most people can tolerate. But you can adjust individual people's volume down, so if they sound really out to you, you turn them down in your personal mix, and you decide who you want to hear louder and quieter, and it can work out. Some people play very fast and have low tolerance, and they say, well, we all better be in the same city on fiber and under 20, but that's really high-powered, ideal, professional type. Your tolerance is what matters.
Jump
Yeah, I
in,
haven't
Trina.
got fiber.
Yeah, this is Trina. I'm actually sitting in that room now if anyone wants to try the Jamulus.
And what?
Oh, I just saw you there. Huh.
What room is that?
The Jamulus server, right?
Yeah, I'm in it now. So I'm going to leave this room and just sit on
Harry's there
Jamulus
now.
for a little bit.
Can you put the link up?
Trina, how would they connect to you?
Well, I'm in the Up the Creek room, and I think someone's got maybe a cut and paste thing to get in there. There's a number. First, you have to have Jamulus installed, but Aaron kind of knows about that.
I have
There's
the number
a
too.
document. There's a document online with instructions, and there's screenshots and the IP address that you need, and that's linked on our schedule, actually, on the Black Creek schedule.
So if they go to the Black Creek schedule, they can look at that.
I'll put the link in the chat.
You're the best. I'm leaving the room. I'm sorry if I'm echoing. Who knows?
Otherwise, I get the feeling that this is like morphing into talking about bits and bytes and speeds and what have you, not necessarily about international jamming.
It's techie talk, isn't it?
If now would be a good breaking point, it might be time to unmute everybody, and let's hear it for Sue and Jules.
Yeah, great. Thanks. Thanks for doing it, Terry. That's good.
Thanks for doing what you do.
Nobody has to leave this room now because the next session is already started in the barn with Alan and Jerry singing songs and playing. But people are welcome to stay here if they wish for the next 40 minutes or 40 or 50 minutes if they wish.
This is fun. I'm leaving. I'm with family, so I have to go now.
Bye, Joan. Thank you, Joan.
Thanks for coming, Joan.
Thank
Nice
you
to see
very
you.
much.
Thanks, Sue and Jules. Thanks, Terry, for coordinating this.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm
Jeanie.
so glad to see everybody learning
Thanks,
about this.
everybody.
Drive
Mhm.
safe,
Watch the road,
Jeanie.
Jeanie. Watch
Hey,
the
Jeanie.
road.
Turn it off, Jeanie. Run straight.
Thank you all. Yeah.
See you,
Bye for now.
Good to see you.
Bye.
Yeah.
Try to. I might
Really?
not see you Sunday. I'll see you when I'm looking at you, as they say.
Yeah, whenever, when you're
Sure
free.
thing. Yeah.
We can stick
Busy
around if
weekend.
anyone's got
I'm
questions.
gonna go visit the restroom now.
Yeah.
Too much information, I know.
Bye.
Love y'all.
Thanks for
Thanks,
coming. It's
Ben.
been good.
Thanks.
Nice
Thank
to
you.
see you.
Thanks,
Okay.
both of you. Yeah.
Good.
Cool.
I'll just eat some food and think about yodeling.
Oh yeah, when's that? That's
Oh.
actually check that. Right, okay. So bye. See you everyone.
I'm going to go.